Canada 2025 PGWP update, new work permit rules and approved course list revealed. Canada just changed the rules for the post-graduation work permit, and not all programs are eligible anymore. Only certain high-demand fields now qualify. Want to stay and work after graduation? You'll need to choose your course wisely. If you are interested in this topic, please pay attention and watch the video through to the end to get all the information. Please hit like and subscribe, and don't forget to push the notification bell for an upcoming video. A big news has just landed, and if you're planning to study in Canada, this is something you absolutely cannot afford to ignore. The Canadian government officially announced major changes to the post-graduation work permit program. And yes, while these changes might seem overwhelming at first glance, they're not all bad news. In fact, for many students, these changes could be a golden opportunity if you're prepared. Let's break down everything you need to know about the new rules, how they'll affect future international students, and most importantly, how to stay eligible for that all-important work permit. The major shift: field-specific work permit eligibility. Until recently, most students graduating from public colleges and designated learning institutions in Canada were eligible for a PGWP regardless of the specific program they studied. But those days are over. Starting June 25, 2025, Canada's PGWP eligibility is now tied directly to your chosen field of study. That's right, only certain programs, mostly in high-demand sectors, now qualify for post-graduation work permits. So, if you're enrolling in a diploma or certificate program that's no longer on the approved list, you won't be able to stay in Canada and work after graduation. However, if you're pursuing a bachelor's, master's, or PhD, the rules remain unchanged for you. This video are still universally eligible for PGWP, regardless of your field of study. It's the diploma and short-term certificate programs that are being scrutinized under this new framework. What changed and why? Canada is not trying to make life difficult for international students, it's actually about matching immigration with economic need. The government wants to ensure that students coming to Canada are trained in fields where workers are genuinely needed. In the past, thousands of students enrolled in programs that were low in market demand, leading to unemployment, frustration, and immigration limbo. With the 2025 update, Canada is now streamlining the system to support students who can fill labor shortages and contribute meaningfully to the economy after graduation. That means programs in transportation, agriculture, and low-demand construction trades have been removed from the PGWP eligible list. These sectors are no longer facing the shortages they once did, so there's no justification to allow students to stay and work in them. What courses were added? Now, let's talk about the good news. The Canadian government has added 119 new programs to the PGWP approved list, focusing on areas where the labor demand is skyrocketing. These include healthcare and social services, education, and certain skilled trades. What about students who applied before June 25? Here's a sigh of relief. If you submitted your study permit application before June 25, 2025, these new rules do not apply to you. You will still be evaluated under the previous PGWP framework. Even if your program was later removed from the eligible list, it won't affect your work permit eligibility, as long as your application predates the policy shift. However, if you're applying after that date or planning to switch programs, then you must make sure the course you choose is still on the approved list. Otherwise, you could complete your studies and find yourself ineligible to stay and work in Canada. Language requirements still apply. Don't forget, academic eligibility isn't the only factor. You'll still need to meet Canada's language proficiency benchmarks. For degree-level studies, a CLB 7, Canadian Language Benchmark, is typically required across all 4 skills: reading, writing, listening, and speaking. For diploma or certificate programs, the minimum requirement is CLB 5. Scoring below these thresholds means you won't qualify for the PGWP, regardless of your field of study. So it's essential to prepare and pass your IELTS or other recognized English/French tests with strong scores. Canada tightened student work rules. 178 programs no longer eligible for post-graduation work permit. Canada is overhauling its postgraduate work permit program for international students. Canada changes a significant requirement for a post-graduation work permit. The modifications take effect on June 25 and are a part of larger reforms aimed at bringing education into line with the demands of the labor market. Why were certain programs removed from eligibility? Canada has removed 178 non-degree programs from the PGWP list, citing a lack of alignment with long-term labor market requirements. The government claims that the decision aligns study fields with long-term job shortages. However, new sectors, such as healthcare and education, are gaining prominence. What are the new in-demand fields for work permits? 119 new study fields have been added, primarily in healthcare, trades, and education. Students who applied prior to June 25, 2025, are exempt from the changes under transitional rules. The modifications take effect on June 25 and are a part of larger reforms aimed at bringing education into line with the demands of the labor market, as per a report. With a renewed emphasis on long-term labor shortages, the updated list now reflects Canada's express entry priorities for 2025. In order to be eligible for a PGWP, international students enrolled in non-degree programs, apart from those pursuing bachelor's, master's, and doctoral degrees, must now have completed coursework in a field closely related to these shortages, as per a report by the Daily Hive. Immigration, Refugees, and Citizenship Canada announced that these areas of study were eliminated because they are no longer associated with positions in chronic labor shortages. 920 areas of study are now eligible for a PGWP as a result of this update. On the Post-Graduation Work Permit website, you can see if your field of study is still acceptable in Canada. Even if their field of study was not on the list when they applied for their study permit, students who applied before June 25, 2025, will still be eligible for a PGWP if it was. How does this tie into Canada's express entry plans for 2025? The IRCC announced modifications to the PGWP eligibility requirements last year. Students who graduate from a list of approved programs will be the only ones eligible to apply for a work permit in Canada as of November 1, 2024. The most recent information comes after Ottawa earlier this year announced the new 2025 express entry categories. According to the IRCC, it will hold category-based invitation rounds for workers under new categories, such as education, trades, and healthcare and social services. The Canadian Experience Class, which invites applicants with work experience in Canada to apply for permanent residence, will be the main focus of the federal economic class draws in 2025, Ottawa added. Who still qualifies for a PGWP under the new rules? Students who applied for their study permit before June 25, 2025 are still eligible, even if their program was later removed from the PGWP list. Why did Canada exclude 178 programs from PGWP eligibility? These programs were cut because they no longer correspond to jobs in Canada that are experiencing long-term labor shortages. Canada still welcomes international students, but now it's more focused. Choose an approved program, meet the language requirements, and you're on track for work and PR. To stay smart, stay updated, and shape your future the right way. That is all for today, in this video. What are your thoughts on this? Please let us know in the comments section below. Thanks for watching the entire video. Hopefully, the information is useful to you. See you later, in the next video. Till then, take care.